In school, we learned about Christopher Columbus as a courageous explorer, the man who discovered America. Statues were built in his honor, streets and cities named after him. He was hailed as a hero, a visionary. But what if that story is only half true? What if behind the polished textbook version lies a darker legacy of greed, cruelty, and genocide? Today we're going to uncover the side of Columbus they didn't teach you, the side that challenges everything you thought you knew. Was Christopher Columbus a hero or a villain? Before we get started, if you love shocking facts, forgotten stories, and digging deeper into the past, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Unique History channel. Born in 1451 in the port city of Genoa, Columbus was surrounded by ships, trade, and talk of the sea. As a young man, he worked as a merchant and navigator. He read books, studied maps, and dreamed of distant lands. Most believed that sailing west would lead to disaster. Endless oceans, sea monsters, the edge of the world. But Columbus believed otherwise. Influenced by ancient texts and flawed calculations, he was convinced he could reach Asia by heading west. For years, he pitched his idea to kings and queens across Europe. Portugal said no. England and France turned him away. But in 1492, the Catholic monarchs of Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella, finally agreed. They gave him ships, men, and a mission: find a new route to the riches of the East. 3 ships set sail: the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Columbus promised gold, glory, and conversion of heathens. But what he brought back would change the world in ways no one expected. After more than 2 months at sea, morale was low. The crew whispered of mutiny. Some feared they would never return. But on October 12, 1492, a cry rang out from the Pinta land. Columbus had reached what we now know as the Bahamas. He thought he had arrived in the Indies, hence the name Indians for the native people he encountered. The Taino people welcomed the newcomers with open arms. They offered food, gifts, and friendship. But Columbus saw something else. He saw opportunity. He wrote in his journal, "They are very gentle and without knowledge of evil. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all." To Columbus, these people weren't equals. They were resources. Columbus's arrival marked the beginning of a brutal era. In his later voyages, he returned not as an explorer, but as a colonizer. He demanded gold, even though the islands had very little. When natives couldn't meet quotas, they were punished severely. Hands were cut off. People were hunted down with dogs. Entire villages were burned to the ground. The encomienda system was introduced, a forced labor structure that resembled slavery in every way. Estimates vary, but some historians believe that within 50 years, up to 90% of the native Caribbean population was gone, wiped out by violence, starvation, and European diseases. Columbus didn't just discover a new world, he helped destroy an old one. Now let's pause. History is rarely simple. Was Columbus worse than others of his time? Maybe not. Conquest was common, so was slavery. He operated within a brutal system, but he also helped shape that system. Some defenders argue, if not Columbus, someone else would have done the same. True, but does that excuse it? Columbus was arrested in 1500 by Spanish authorities for mismanagement and cruelty. He died in 1506, still believing he had found a part of Asia, never realizing he had stumbled upon an entirely new continent. And yet, the myth persisted. He became a symbol of courage, ambition, and exploration, especially in the United States, where Columbus Day was established in 1937. But in recent decades, people have begun to question the celebration. Statues have been toppled. Cities have renamed the holiday to Indigenous Peoples' Day, to honor those whose lives and cultures were devastated. Columbus undeniably changed the world. His voyage linked continents, sparked the age of exploration, and transformed global trade. But at what cost? He opened the door to colonization, slavery, and genocide. He set a precedent that others, conquistadors, settlers, and empires, would follow. Is it possible for one person to be both a visionary and a destroyer? To be both bold and brutal? Should we judge him by his intentions or by the consequences of his actions? So, who was Christopher Columbus? A fearless explorer who challenged the limits of his world, or the harbinger of centuries of oppression? Maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. Maybe history isn't about heroes and villains, but about choices, systems, and power. One thing is clear: the way we remember the past shapes the future we build. And sometimes, asking uncomfortable questions is the first step toward understanding. History belongs to those who question it. Before we ending the video with the last chapter, if you enjoy the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to Unique History Channel and share your opinion in comments. As we delve deeper into the legacy of Christopher Columbus, it becomes evident that his voyages had profound and lasting impacts on the indigenous populations of the Americas. On one hand, Columbus's expeditions initiated a period of cultural exchange that brought new foods, animals, and technologies to both the Old and New Worlds. This exchange, known as the Columbian Exchange, forever altered the global landscape, introducing crops like potatoes, tomatoes, and maize to Europe, and horses, cattle, and wheat to the Americas. However, the negative consequences of his voyages cannot be overlooked. The arrival of Columbus and subsequent European explorers led to the displacement, enslavement, and decimation of indigenous communities. Diseases like smallpox, to which the native populations had no immunity, ravaged entire civilizations. The introduction of European systems of governance and land ownership disrupted traditional ways of life, leading to centuries of exploitation and oppression. Yet it's essential to recognize that Columbus's voyages also set the stage for a complex intermingling of cultures. Despite the violence and suffering, new hybrid cultures emerged, blending indigenous traditions with European influences. This cultural fusion continues to shape the identities and histories of people across the Americas today. In the end, Columbus's legacy is a tapestry of both innovation and tragedy, a reminder of the dual-edged nature of exploration and conquest. It challenges us to reflect on the multifaceted impacts of historical events and to strive for a more nuanced understanding of the past. So, as we ponder the legacy of Columbus, let's remember to honor the resilience and contributions of the indigenous peoples whose lives were irrevocably changed by his voyages. Their stories are integral to the narrative of our shared human history. What do you think? How should we remember Columbus and his expeditions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history.